one of the cool things about being part of Generation X and being a millennial while being raised by baby boomers, the cool thing about that is that you see so many different perspectives. And I posted a status on Facebook 2 weeks ago where I talked about the generation that was born between 1981 and 1991. That group, and it's a combination of the end of like Generation X, and it's the beginning of the millennial generation, and it's the older millennial generation, but still, you saw so many different eras, right? So if you were born within that time space, you remember dial-up internet, you remember the Sega Genesis, you remember Nintendo 64, the PlayStation 5. Like, we saw VHS, and we also saw DVD, and we saw Blu-ray, and now everything is streamable, right? So we've seen a lot of different nuances of how the world has changed as far as technology and, just, trends in general. Now, the older generation prides itself on working hard, right? Being the first one in, last person out, just outworking everyone and making sure you earn everything you get, right? The younger generation, my generation, we pride ourselves on working smart, right? So we use our brains more so than using our hands, right? Now, nothing is wrong with either. I believe there is much to be said about working hard. Manual labor isn't a bad thing. And then again, too, it doesn't mean you're not working hard if you're not doing manual work, okay? You can have a white collar position and work extremely hard, but I'm talking about in the pretense of manual labor, because to our grandparents, the only way you can work hard is by working, breaking your back like, 10 or 12 hours a day. But one of the schools of thoughts that I want to do a podcast about today, an episode rather, is I want to talk about this idea that you have to stay at one job for 40 years and retire, and that's how you exist. You have to be loyal to your employer, right? Now, there's a thing between job hopping for the hell of it and job hopping to further your career. Now, am I someone who believes that you should just have a different job every week? Absolutely not. But am I someone who believes that you should stay at a job for 40, 30 years, 50 years? No, I don't believe that. The only way I believe that a person should stay at a job that long is if you are adequately being compensated and you are being, you have the ability to have upward mobility in the company. Like if you're being able to be promoted and you're able to rise throughout the ranks, then by all means, spend your entire life at one company. But the world in which we live today, it really isn't feasible to see yourself at one particular company for 30 or 40 years. Back in the day, it was an actual thing. You can go in a textile mill and really be at a factory or a job for a very long time. But now it's completely, that isn't really a thing anymore. So, now with that said, man, I don't condone just going from job to job. But this is what I am saying, and this is what I want to get to here, before I teeter along for too long here. I want to, every job you take, every position you get to, it needs to be a position that is going to put you in a better position to move up. So, a prime example, say you've been at a job for 4 years, right? And at this job, you went from entry level position to, you've pretty much been in that position for a good deal. And you're someone who wants to move up, right? You have all of the credentials, you've put the time in, you put the work, you're great at what you do, and your superiors may or may not appreciate you or let you know how valuable you are to the team. But let's just say you're someone who wants to elevate, but you're not able to, for whatever the case may be. You may ask for a raise or a promotion and you may not get it, or you just may be passed up by other people. We have the freedom in today's time to, if you have garnered all the skills you need at a particular space and you're ready for a greater challenge, it's on us to put ourselves in a situation where we could go and elevate to that point to where we think we should be. So what I'm saying is, if you've been at a job for 4 or 5 years and you're ready for a promotion, or you think you need a bigger role, don't wait on your employer to give you that opportunity. If you've garnered all the skills needed and you've done everything you can do at this level, seek that level externally, right? So go to other companies and organizations, look at what's available in that particular space, and just try to land you an interview and go and get that job. You don't have to wait for a company to recognize your value anymore, right? So we have to get out of this mindset, men, that the only way that we're going to be successful, or you're unsuccessful, if you have a plethora of jobs over the course of your life. I read this study, man, that said that in 1945, the average man would work 2 jobs over the duration of a 60-year career. That same stat in 2017 was 12. So the average man is going to work 12 jobs over the course of 60 years. And 12 is being generous, all right? But I guess if you count from, from high school on up, I guess it would come out to be that amount, maybe a little less. But what I'm saying is, you don't have to wait for someone to give you an opportunity. Whether you're an employee or you want to become an entrepreneur, you don't have to wait for opportunities to present themselves where you are. You can go out and create your own opportunities. So if let me give a basic example. If I'm on drive-through at Burger King, right, and I've been there for 4 years, but I've shown the capabilities to take on a greater role or capacity, and I see that McDonald's have an opening for a manager, well, if I can be able to verbalize my skills and put it in a way to where I can prove that I can do this in an interview, then they will give me a shot. So I would have given myself a promotion versus waiting on Burger King to give me a promotion. So we have to take this into account in 2019, man. We don't have to, if you're at a job to where you feel like you're burnt out, but you're burnt out because you have pretty much climbed as high as you can climb at that capacity, and you feel like you're ready for a greater challenge, you feel like you are ready for a bigger role, then you can create that role. Whether you go and build it yourself through entrepreneurship, or you go and you get that opportunity from another employer. We have that power, and so that's why it's important to always be able to verbalize your skill set. Always add a skill set onto what you have. Always get better. Read, ask questions, try to volunteer when you can. Try to learn more than what your job entails, because the more versatile you are, the more value you provide a company or an employer. So the more value you bring, the more opportunities you're going to have. So keep that in mind also. If you feel like you need a promotion just because you've been somewhere for a long time, but you can't really do too much outside the realm of what you're doing, then you may be fighting an uphill battle. But if you are at point A, but you know you can do point B and C, then why settle for point A? Try to go out and get point C and point D if you can. So anyway, before I ramble on too long, man, just think about it. Hopefully I have invoked some form of thought in this episode here. Me and Corin got a lot more coming down the pipeline. So let us know what you guys think about this. And thank you so much for listening to the Be a Man podcast. I'm CJ, and I'm out.